because unless you're 65 and want to work for an airline, you're not too old to be a pilot. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been 9 months since I've made a video. That's a long time. I wanted to take a minute and answer this question for you guys because it's one I've been getting a ton in the DMs over on Instagram. But honestly, this is not the question I would be asking. There's other questions that you should ask, because unless you're 65 and want to work for an airline, you're not too old to be a pilot. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name's Corey. I'm a corporate pilot. I fly Citation for a company in northern Utah. I've been in corporate aviation for almost 10 years. Flown the Citation, Challenger 300, Falcon 50, EX, Phenom 100, and Phenom 300. So I've flown a few different types. Got my pilot's license exactly 5 weeks before 9/11 happened. I saw how 9/11 affected pilot jobs and also the recession. In fact, I graduated in 2008, right during it. So I've kind of been through the good and the bad. And right now we're in a good time in aviation. If you're probably thinking, am I too old? Because you're seeing that there's a pilot shortage, there's a lot of jobs, or companies need pilots, and that's a good thing. And that's probably going to continue because of the major airlines losing a lot of pilots, and just there weren't a lot coming through the pipeline over the last 10, 15 years. So there is a demand for pilots. And so if you're in that boat thinking, I want to make a career change and start something new, aviation right now is a good thing to get into, but that could change in the next 4 to 5 years. We could have a recession, things could freeze up, but maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's, maybe with your timing, that could be good. But anyways, these are the questions that you should be asking if you want to get into an aviation career, and maybe you feel like you're later in life, 30s, 40s, 50s even. The first thing you would want to do is go get a flight physical. You'll want at least a second class, preferably a first class medical, to be a pilot. You can just search online where to get a flight physical in my area. Some aviation medical examiners will pop up. Give them a call, set up an appointment. Do that first, because nothing else will matter if there's something wrong with your health. The next thing I would ask myself is, what are your end goals? Begin with the end in mind. Do you want to be an airline pilot? Do you want to fly corporate? Maybe you just want to be a CFI. That's going to kind of change how you do things. If you're looking at going to an airline, you might want to train really fast and crush it as hard as you can. And if you're later in life, if you're in your late 40s, 50s, you might only have a 10-year airline career, which is still good. And airlines will still hire there, but there's some other things that come with that. If you want to go to an airline, you'll probably have to start at a regional carrier. Can you take that pay cut? I don't know what you're doing right now. I don't know what your current financial situation is. Pilots at some point make a lot of money, but we start out kind of on the bottom of the barrel, not making a ton. And that's come up a lot over the last few years, but a lot of those hiring bonuses and stuff will start to go away over the next few years. So that's something to think about. If with your training, if you want to get in right now, you better train pretty fast. And I think the next question would be training is, how does that work with your schedule? I don't know what you're doing right now for employment. If you're have something that's really demanding, it's something to think about. You're going to have to train, and to be proficient and train as a pilot for a career, you want to be flying at least 2 to 3 times a week, if not more. So that's something to think about. Can your schedule allow that? Are you going to be able to take that time off and make it work with your family if you have a family? That's definitely something I would consider. Going along with the training, the big question for most people is finances. Not just how are you going to pay for training, because it's become incredibly expensive. Do you have money saved up? Can you still work full time and pay for it as you go? Do you need to take out loans? That's a big question, paying for the training. But then also, if you have to take time off of work, do you have a spouse or significant other that can support the family? Do you have parents that are willing to help? Can you live not fancy for a while? And then once you get there and you finish the training, you get the job, can you live off of a smaller salary? Maybe you're making $80,000 to doing computer programming or whatever, and you got to go down and start at 30,000 as a regional airline pilot. Now again, like I said, that'll come up, and has come up, and but that might change. If the economy tanks, those bonuses will go away, and they'll take whoever. So it goes back to training. Can you train really fast and crush it? Or is it going to be a 4 or 5 year process to get the hours and meet the requirements that companies are looking for when they hire professional pilots? Corporate, it's all over the place. I can't give you a set minimum for corporate. I've seen guys get on at 500 hours to fly right seat in a citation. Some companies won't take you unless you have 2,500 hours, and that's just an SIC. Just depends on what the requirements are. Those are all things to think about. So it's not a matter of age. It's more your situation, financial, family, current work status. What are your end goals? Those are the things that I would think about if I was starting a second career in aviation right now. It can definitely be done though. You can definitely have a second career in aviation. I just got a DM from a guy yesterday, 36 years old, last year, crushed it, flew 1,000 hours. He's got a job lined up at Envoy next year. So if you're willing to make it work and not be fancy, and you can cut those corners, and you can switch careers and take time off work and pay for it, you can definitely have a second career. I don't know if I'd be taking out a ton of loans and debt at this point, late in life, to do it, especially right now, because I could see a point where the hiring's going to continue to go, but I could see it slowing down a little bit. So unless you can get out in the next 2 years and be ready, I don't know. I could see that happening, but the best thing to do would be go talk to, if you're really serious about it, go talk to a local flight school. Find a place where you want to do your training, see how fast, come up with a plan with them. I can't give you specific advice because I don't know your full situation, but those are the questions that I would ask. Those are the things I would think about if I was getting into aviation later in my life. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that guides some of you and gets you thinking about different things. Hopefully maybe you've thought of those things already. Maybe there's something new there. If you know someone that's interested in aviation later in the career, share this video with them. Send them away. I like getting DMs. You can hit me up on email. I answer a ton of emails from you guys with questions about flight school and flight training and how to get into aviation. You can just follow the email and shoot me an email. There's probably more things in there I could talk about without getting too specific. I just want to get your mind thinking about those other questions, and hopefully you've already thought of those things, and I'm not saying anything new to you here. But if you have specific questions for me, email me or DM me over on Instagram, and I'll be happy to answer them for you as I can. If this video brought you any value, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe. I make YouTube videos when I'm on the road. We're at the Hilton Garden Inn here in South Haven, Mississippi. Just something to keep me busy on the road. So anyways, hope that helps. We'll see you next time.